Hi, welcome everyone to another episode of It's Your Turn Time. And this time around, we're kicking things off with episode one of season two. My name is Carla Sanchez, and I'm the Director of Communications at Harbor Trucking Association. I took a hiatus. I became a mom of a little girl, and I'm very happy to be back. I have a special guest today. Quiero darle la bienvenida a Daniel Acosta. He's an esteemed member of the trucking community, and I know that many of you know him. Let me bring him on. Hola Daniel,
Hey,
¿cómo estás?
hi Carla, how are you? Hola, buenas tardes.
Muy bien. Qué gusto tenerte aquí. Ya tenía mucho queriéndote tener en mi podcast y qué bien que ya se hizo,
Sí,
por
ya
fin.
finalmente ya se pudo hacer, ¿no? Ya dejamos un poco de tiempo, ¿no? Pero aquí estamos, we're here.
Así es. Perfect. Well, let's kick it off. Let's start with the pre-gate questions. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the trucking industry?
Yeah, definitely. Well, like I said, she already introduced me. Like I said, my name is Daniel Acosta. I'm a permit specialist here at Advanced Registration Services, and I'm also an admin in one of the Facebook groups that's out there here in the Harbor area, in the LA and Long Beach area, which is LA and LB Port Drivers, right? And basically, I love this industry. I've been in it since I was 17, and haven't gone out of it. If I have been in it doing other things, and obviously I've worn different shoes at different times, right? So I've kind of gotten used to being, doing one thing and then doing another, and then just kind of, getting to know the industry in itself. Because as it is, the industry is a huge industry, right? It's just not just one specific thing. It's several different pieces that make up the whole, right? So, you know.
Of course. Wow. So you started in the industry at 17. What was your job? Were you a truck driver, a dispatcher?
When I first got started, I was actually a mechanic. Believe it or not, I started off as a technician working on trucks. Back then when I first got started, there was a special you know aftermarket product that came out to try to help alleviate the fuel cost. It was
Yeah.
like I guess what you would call a swamp cooler. So it was like an AC unit that was adapted to the trucks that would use electricity and water instead of having the engine running. That was one of the products. And then the second product that that company offered that I was installing going around was an automatic tire inflation system, right? So it was, you see it a lot in Mexico and other parts of the Central America. So it's called Vigía. Basically
Mhm.
what it does, it automatically inflates the tires as soon as it starts losing pressure. So, getting to know that, I got to be on the inside of the trucks, under the trucks, work on buses, work on tractors, trailers, anything that needed, we could adapt it. It kind of retrofitted to it.
Yeah. Wow,
You know.
very interesting. So you
Yeah,
know
so
the inside of a truck, the outside of a truck, you know what it is to be a driver as well, right? You
yeah,
drove.
definitely. Yeah, because part of the of the business was that we needed to move the trucks around, right? So at some point I had to learn how to drive, a 10 speed and automatic, to be able to move around the yard. So at some point I just kind of picked it up, and then there was a point where I had my own trucks that I had working at the port before 2007, before all the regulations came out. Uh, so I would go maintenance myself because while I was working with that company, uh, it was inside of a mechanic yard, right? So during the time off when there was no trucks to work on, I kind of, me as curiosity, have always been hands-on with things, right? So I like working with my hands, working on with like, especially mechanics, especially during high school, working auto body shops and working at different other locations, doing side jobs, you know, I got to know mechanics. So I kind of being stuck with them there. I was like, oh well, I'm going to learn something. So
Yeah.
they pretty much had me assisting them, right? So taking differentials apart, doing in motor, overhauls. So I really got to know what a diesel engine was, right? So I got to know the internals. So just like a car, I learned how to do all the maintenance on it, and after that was just kind of grew from there.
Do you do any mechanical things nowadays or?
Yeah, just on my personal vehicles, or
Yeah.
one of my business partners, his truck is outside and something's leaking, or he doesn't feel something's right. I'll go out there and check it out. But nowadays, all the newer trucks are more modernized. You got to plug them
Yeah.
into a computer now to get the information from it. It's not like the old 60 series Cummins or the first ISXs that were out there. Even the Caterpillars were a lot more simpler to work on than they are now.
I bet.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so nothing
And
like the good old days.
right. And did you have a mentor when you started your journey as a trucker, or did you have to learn how to take care of business on your own?
Honestly, at the end of the day, I ended up just I kind of got thrown into this, right? I had to work, at that age, at 17, I had my first child, right? So I really didn't have an opportunity to actually go to school to learn anything much after that, because I was just like, all right, become a parent and got to go to work, got to pay bills, got to pay diapers, and I kind of got thrown into it, right? So I'm glad it happened the way it happened. It was a life changing experience for me to kind of go through the cycles of everything and learn what I did, right? Because all those pieces and the things that I went through has helped me now in the position that I'm at.
Perfect. And as a driver, how important was it to be a part of a community of drivers?
Well, when it comes to being a driver, right? Because I never fully became a driver to actually drive for somebody and work for somebody, but I did pretty much were around them 24/7, right? So whether they were coming in for maintenance, coming in to install the unit, just talking to them, getting involved with them, just me as curiosity would ask questions, right? There's things that I fully didn't understand about certain things the way the industry was. So as curiosity grew, so did my mentality to want to know more about it, right? So once I started driving and understanding that these trucks, you just can't go fast in them, right? No matter how fast you change it, they're not going to pick up speed like a car does, right? So just those little things that transitioning how to go from low gear to high gear. At some point it was like, all right, well, this is cool, I like it, I could do it, but I don't know if I would be a trucker myself, right? So uh, later on in the future, that's where I bought my own trucks, had them working at the ports, leased onto a company before. So that was the simplest way I got as close as I did to actually owning my own and driving my own truck.
The reason why I ask is because I know that you have a Facebook group, LALB Port Drivers, and
Yeah,
this is a virtual community that you have created and are the leader of, and
yeah.
it's been very well.
One of
Yeah,
us.
one of them, and I know that you've had much success. What do you think has been the key to your success?
Well, I guess I think the major key was being able to understand the drivers, because I was at that level, right? I was a business owner. I did own my own truck, right? I did my own maintenance, so I understood. You know, wearing the different shoes that I have so far in this industry has taken me to that point where, okay, he can explain something to me, we can be talking about it, and we meet at the same level, right? Why? Because I've been there, or I've experienced it, or I've learned from my elders, right, that they have gone through it, and learn from their mistakes, right? It's kind of hard sometimes as an individual, or as a person ourselves, to learn from other people's mistakes. But I think just going through the cycles of being in the industry has definitely helped me out to understand and meet at the driver level, especially at the position that I am now, and being able to communicate different information to these drivers. It gets to a point where I feel that a lot of people are scared to ask questions,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, they ask questions within themselves, right? But one thing may be what one person says, and then the other person may know another thing, and they just either contradict themselves or it's not the correct information. So I've always felt that educating and being out there and being liberal with people, so asking questions and giving the correct answers. I've always felt that if I'm going to give advice, I'm going to make sure that the advice is correct. So I do my own homework. I'm constantly, you know, showing up at webinars. I'm constantly pulling information off the internet of the new laws that are coming out, especially that, I am a compliance officer as well. I need to make sure that the companies that pretty much I control are in good standing as well.
Yes, of course. And speaking of compliance, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your company, which you're the CEO of,
Correct.
Advanced Registration Services? Advanced Registration Services is actually also a partner of one of our programs, the Trucker Advantage program. Yeah, tell us how you got started in that business and what is it that you do to help the drayage community?
Yeah, well, like I said, going back to the beginning, right? That's where everything kind of put me in the position that I'm in, right? So, it's been what 23 years now that I've been in the industry. Now, not to say my age or anything, but yeah, it's been about 23 years stepping foot into this industry, and it's been pretty much the only real industry that I really know and actually felt part of, right? I've had jobs, since I was 15, but that was all just seasonal jobs, working through, high school, working through intermediate school just to make some extra money, right? I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, right? So I've always had that ambition to want more and get more and go get it. Right? I've been a go getter my whole life. Um, and then now, what I do now when it comes to advanced registration, being a permit specialist, I consider myself, and also the CEO. What's been about 18 years since I've been doing it now, I believe. So it's
Okay.
18 years, making trucking companies basically is what I consider it. I get people to come into this industry all the time saying, "Hey, I want to get into it. What do I need? Or what are the perks? Or what do I expect?" So pretty much I guide them from the beginning, right? I feel that people need to kind of get the whole picture, right? Not just pieces of it. So we take it in steps, but I give it to them all in one shot and let them know, okay, this is the steps that we got to take to get to their end goal, right? So at the end of the day, in this transportation industry, there is so many avenues in it, right? Working at the ports, working locally, working out of state, hazmat, overweight, everything's got its own direction and its own set of regulations as well. So I kind of feel that, here at Advanced Registration, we offer that service, right? We go above and beyond for our clients and not just say, hey, we'll get you started and here you go, you're on your own. We go above and beyond that and still keep you in compliance, constantly reminders and just kind of keep the flow going, right? So as things change, when I run into time for renewal with a certain permit, I'll ask certain questions to kind of pick their brain because at the end of the day, sometimes people need that, right? Some people need to be able to pick their brain, ask a certain question, so it brings out another,
Yeah.
and then where I kind of throw in, okay, this is what's coming. Be aware of it so that you kind of see, you see it coming. People say, I see it coming, but I don't know when it's going to get here, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of prepare them for this so that they don't get it, they don't have it all as a surprise last minute.
And for you personally, what motivated you to become a business owner? Because part of your job is to set up an LLC or corporation for these
Right,
guys, right?
right.
¿Cómo es que los inspiras a tomar ese paso en sus vidas de convertirse en dueño, operador, dueño de una empresa, vaya?
Yeah.
Este,
Yeah, well, el paso inicial, aquí lo que hacemos prácticamente es el cliente ya cuando llega o ya cuando empieza a hacer preguntas es porque ya tiene curiosidad, A veces es preguntarle varias preguntas de lo que más o menos ya para saber de dónde van o a dónde es lo que quieren,
ujú,
ya sabiendo más o menos qué es su meta, de ahí ya puedo más o menos programarlo, es decir, en ciertos pasos para llegar a esa meta, ¿me entiendes? Y pues trabajando juntos, porque muchos drivers son nuevos, de que ellos siempre fueron, dueños de su camión, pero lo tenían lease con una compañía y pues ahí la compañía se encargaba de todo lo que era el papelero. Ellos nomás, llegaban, prendían la llave y vámonos a trabajar, regresaban, entregaban los papeles y ahí esperaban su cheque el viernes, ¿entiendes? Ya como ya se han puesto de moda, puedes decir, de que muchas compañías ya están pidiendo y o prácticamente exigiendo que ya seas tu propio dueño operador. Esa palabra dueño operador para mí esa ha sido tirada por el piso, puedes decir, porque la definición de un dueño operador es, siendo dueño de su propio camión, teniendo su propia póliza y teniendo su propia familia, eso es un dueño
ujú.
operador que hace sus propias decisiones, Y pues sí, es mucha responsabilidad eventualmente ya tener todos tus propios permisos, porque ahora le toca a uno hacer las decisiones, hacer todos los papeleros, asegurar que todo esté en orden, más que nada porque pues el Departamento de Transportación y el CHP pues se tienen la lupa.
Yeah.
Constantemente ellos exigen mucho, y para uno puede ser muy pesado para uno que no están acostumbrados a estar en esa posición de la presión, pero hay gente que sí se adapta de volada, y más que nada pues ahí estamos para ellos, para ayudarles, contestarles cualquier pregunta que tengan, cualquier necesidad, ahí estamos para ellos y se sienten confiables de que pues, la información que le estamos dando es real,
Claro que sí. Y aquí tengo en la pantalla ahorita los números de teléfono, bueno, el número de teléfono donde puede llamar si usted quiere convertirse en dueño operador. Y aquí está la dirección también. So yeah, just give Daniel a call, and he can help you step by step. Well, Daniel, how does advanced registration help someone who wants to become independent? What's the first thing that you do? We talked about you picking their brains to see, where they see their future. I know in past conversations with you, you've told me that it's very different when somebody decides to get an LLC versus an S corp. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, going back to picking their brain. At the end of the day, it's finding out what it is they need, right? In most cases, sometimes if they're working for a company right now, at least, and then the company is saying, "Hey, you have to make that transition," then it's finding out what that company needs from them, right? So it's basically at the end of the day, it's whatever they want is what we get them, and then to be able to comply for what they need, right? For what the company's asking for, which the majority of the time it's the permits, their own insurance, and then their own either LLC or corporation, right? So during the transition between starting at 17 and then getting to become a permit specialist, I did work inside a lawyer's office, right? So which was a truck attorney, right? So he was a trucker's attorney, he would call himself. Rest in peace, Gary. Unfortunately he died already, but I learned a lot from him. Just being in his office, just hearing the conversations that he would have, and then just me asking questions, just being curious, like, hey, why is this? What's the difference between a corporation and an LLC? So him, he did it for like 40 something years being a trucker attorney, right? So he came across quite a bit of complications, right, in his time. He's saying a lot of situations, lawyers obviously see so many different cases. So he kind of gave me the breakdown and pretty much gave me the crash course of what it is to be an LLC and then be a corporation, right? So that kind of structured me have in my head, okay, what will work for something, So that's what
Okay.
picking the brain, asking the right questions would definitely, be like, all right, well, you know what, this is what the route that you got to take because of this situation, right? And the case that, hey, you're the only driver, you don't have any drivers, then this is going to be your avenue that you're going to take, And then at some point, when I started my own company back in 2016, right, after working, almost 16, 14 years for, 14 to 16 years for a company myself, right, as an employee, basically learning all this that I do now, um, it became where, okay, now I got to do it on my own. What else can I do to offer, right? So
Mhm.
I started studying taxes, right? Because obviously creating a corporation, it comes with the questions of what taxes, how do I file my taxes, what I got to do with my tax returns, or, so studying the taxes, right? Because eventually I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do registration. What else can I offer, right? The number one thing would probably would have been truck insurance. But at the end of the day, I was like, do I really want to get into that? I probably should have, but at the end of the day, I'm happy where I'm at working with third parties, which is, has grown my business that way. So, learning taxes again, going back to that, understanding what the structures are of an LLC and the structures of an incorporation, I'm able to sell that to them and pretty much almost advise them what will work for them. And then at the end of the day, like, hey, you got to talk to your tax guy. He's the one that's going to, do all your reporting because I don't do it. So make sure that, you get in contact with him as well.
And for those who are listening us via Spotify or Google Podcast, just want to repeat the phone number where you can contact Daniel. It's 562 395 4535. So that's 562-395-4535, and he can help you out. His office is located at 1700 Santa Fe Avenue, Suite 301, Long Beach, California. Um, I want to kind of like touch base back to our partnership with the Trucker Advantage program. So you've been our partner for at least 4 or 5 years
Yeah, definitely.
since the creation of the Trucker Advantage program. Um, to all our listeners, you can join the membership right now by going to www.harbortruckers.org and create an account for free. Daniel Acosta, he is our concierge. So you can call him and he'll be able to help you out with any questions that you have regarding compliance and regulatory services, as well as if you need additional help on the website. So yeah, Trucker Advantage program. It's a great opportunity. We designed this program specifically for owner operators and independent contractors. So you get all services on there are discounted. So thank you, Daniel.
No, no,
Thank you
definitely.
for
It's actually been a pleasure being part of the HTA. It's really opened up more doors and avenues in my profession itself. Getting to know, the actual business owners of these companies, right, and getting their perspective on it and their points of views, and just being able to attend all the different events that the HTA puts together throughout the year, right. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, it's kind of slowed it down a little bit, but I think we're finally getting out of that. I think
we're back up
everybody's
and
seeing the
running.
yeah, yeah, where everybody's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now, right? They're starting to pick up, take off certain limitations of what it can and can't do, right? But yeah, definitely it's been a pleasure being part of the HTA. Like I said, being an actual concierge service, I am able to help you with any of the services that are available on the HTA. You know,
Platform,
trucker,
yeah.
a trucker platform. There's a TAP program, right? Trucker
Yes.
Advantage program, right? Which offers more than just what I do, right? I'm just the compliance division of it, a permitting service, I guess you would say. But we also have insurance. We also have people that do taxes. We got fuel programs.
Legal
There's quite
help.
a yeah, definitely. There's quite a bit of list, and it's constantly growing, right? So it's things that the HTA is put together for truck drivers where it could be like a one-stop shop, right? So to make it fairly easier, right? And then some people are just like, hey, where do I go? What do I do? I've been able to put all my tools, right? Because there's obviously things that I can't do here personally, but I definitely have my tools on the side that I can definitely recommend and put together. HTA has done a perfect job of putting that together, and it's grown over the years, and definitely I hope that more members join, definitely take
Yes.
advantage of that, definitely, like I said, Carla said, it's for free. If you have any trouble definitely signing up, uh, I can definitely help you out, or any questions you have about the program, I'm there to answer them for you.
Thank you. And I want to thank you also for wearing an HTA t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Looking
Look,
good, representing. I should have worn mine so we could have been twins.
yeah, there you go. Well, when they see us at events, they already know.
Of course. Well, let's go to our outgate questions. I wanted to ask you if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Good question. Probably to start my business sooner, right? I guess taking that first leap of faith, obviously, with any type of business that you open or any type of risk that's out there, I think as human beings, we're always hesitant to do it. I think I would have told myself back then, hey, take the risk. It wasn't going to cost you anything at the end of the day, right? But I think I should have taken the decision sooner than what I did, to be honest with you. I can't say that I had a real bad experience of where I was at. Honestly, I was comfortable to a certain point, until the management restructured and things changed. And it was like, hey, well, where's my opinion in all this, right? I'm the one that's gone through everything through here because I'm the one that opened the department from the beginning, right? And I seen so many people come and go, and I'm the last one there. I'm like, okay, well, where's my opinion in all this? So I kind of felt disappreciated when that happened. And after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do it on my own. That was just kind of the push that I needed in the position that I got into. So I was like, all right. I can do it. I'm gonna do it. And then luckily I had my wife that was behind me, and my family that was behind me, and even my same clients that I had personal relationships with, throughout the years, like, hey, why don't you do it on your own? Why don't you do open up your own?
Yeah.
I was comfortable. To be honest with you, I just settled. Like most people do. I paid the bills. I went, did what I had to do. And that was it. At the end of the day, but definitely I would have maybe another 5 years sooner would have definitely I probably would have been in a better position than I am now. But hey, it happened for a reason. The way it happened, I don't question God why He did it. I just thank God it happened the way it did, and that I'm in the position that I am now. So
What is the saying? They say never late than
yeah,
ever.
better late than
There
never,
you
right?
go.
But it's okay. Like I said, I guess I had to go through the cycles, right? Because like I
Yeah.
said, in the industry, I've done several things, right? There was a point too within that transition of when I was 17 to where I started working doing permits. I also worked at Truck Club magazine, right? So that's one of the major magazines that's out here in this area that promotes different businesses and stuff like that. And that was a big help as well, right? Getting into the industry, hanging out with Laura Machuca and her family, and because it's family owned business, you know, uh, opened up a lot more doors too to understand even more about the business, right? So getting to go around with her and being introduced to a lot of different business owners. And like I said, just going through the cycles of it has definitely helped me in the position that I am now to where, okay, I can see it from my end, I can see it from their end, and then I can also see it from the government's end, right? Because I know what they're expecting from the customers, right? So I kind of get all the points of views. Like I said, I've worn different shoes so
Yeah.
I feel that I can correctly educate and correctly guide people in a certain direction if needed. But at the end of the day, hey, they have more experience driving, so hey, I leave that to the professionals, right? It's like I'm not gonna go in there and change a tire. I probably could, but I'm probably gonna struggle compared to somebody that's a professional to do it. He's gonna come in 10, 15 minutes later, he's done, right? So leave it to the professionals.
Let's leave it to the professionals. And what advice would you give a person who is planning to become an owner operator today?
Basically, ask questions. Ask questions at least to a professional. You're definitely gonna ask questions to your friends. Ask personal questions. You got to understand that the struggles that you're gonna go through, somebody else has already gone through them, right? So why not get their opinion on it, right? And see what it is. Do your homework on it, right? Understand what you're getting into, right? And at the end of the day, make a decision on what your end goal is gonna be, right? So
Yeah.
that'll make it a lot more easier for you, right? Because you may start off in a certain way, and if you get there, you may become, professional about it, and you may get it to the point where, okay, I already know everything that I need to know about it. But at the end of the day, like I said, this industry it has so many different avenues. You may start off in a certain way, but at the end of the day, you may end up changing your opinion. So keep your options open, of the way that things kind of flow with it, and just kind of go with it, right? Fortunately, the regulations are constantly changing, right? There's always, the ARBs coming out with more regulation. The port comes out with other different regulations. CHP, DOT, FMCSA. Unfortunately, in this industry, there's so many different government agencies involved in it. It's not just like one-stop shop. Okay, you go to one place and they take care of everything. It doesn't. Right? I have several licenses with different departments, so you know we have to understand all the compliance about it. So once you get into it, you understand it and you kind of go through it, you kind of learn from it, right? So it's just a learning process with this industry. And I encourage people to become owner operators at the end of the day, right? Because who doesn't want to be their own boss, right? Who doesn't
Exactly.
want to be able to take a day off and not have to worry about somebody else looking bad at them or put you or blacklist you, like they say, right, for not showing up for work, or there's so many different things. So I encourage people to do it. I understand it's a big risk. It's a lot of investment too as well, right? So it may kind of hit you where it hurts in the pocket, right? But at the end of the day, it's a big payoff at the end. And so far, yeah, I see more people coming into the business than they're getting out of it, right? So people that are getting out of it, they've been through it 30, 35 years, 40 years, right? They're at their age of retirement, so it's understandable. As people come out, new people come in, right? So just get the experience that you want out of it, and then make the decision at some point and just go with it.
Excellent. Como todo en la vida, es un ciclo. Los que
Exactamente,
van
yeah, yeah.
saliendo va y luego los que van entrando. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, Daniel. I'm very happy you were able to join us today to kick off this second season of It's Your Turn Time. And big thanks to everybody that has stayed with us till the end, listening to us talk about becoming an owner operator and the wonderful services that advanced registration can provide to help you on that journey. Um, did you want to give any shout outs before we go, Daniel?
Yeah, definitely. I want to give a shout out to all the admins and our and LA and LB port drivers. Here we go. Find us
There
on
you
Facebook and Instagram. Definitely we're out there to help. And going back to the theme. Not to throw out too much about the group or anything, but being part of the LA and LB port you know group itself, creating what become a nonprofit group as well, right, has helped a lot. It too as well, right. It's helped a lot to actually educate more and get out more information to the drivers now. And then that's pretty much the main goal of LA and LB port drivers, is to kind of have some type of unity at some point, right now, without becoming a union as well, right. But just having some type of platform where you can go and get information, see people offering services, see people or drivers, fellow colleagues putting up information, how the ports are doing, and like the stuff that I put up and do on my posts, it's always going to be always educational, right? Where people can, at least if they go on there, they can pull something out of there and be like, oh man, it's a good thing I didn't go that way, because that terminal's closed, or that freeway's closed because of an accident. So that's what we try to do. We try to build a community to give back, right? At the end of the day, everything that we get donated to us, all our sponsors, we use that to give it right back to the community, right? To kind of make everybody feel that they're part of something, especially at the level where, as Hispanics, or just as a trucking community itself, being able to communicate in English and Spanish, and have people within the group that understand it and able to explain it, can go above and beyond, part of it. So if you're not part of the group yet, you can find us, like I said, on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. You can look us up as LA and LB Port Drivers. Here's the logo, so you kind of get it out there, because there has been several other, fake LA and LB Port drivers, you know, trying to duplicate. But honestly, at the end of the day, we're still number one.
Perfecto. Well, don't forget to subscribe to our channel also. Our YouTube channel, Harbor Trucking Association, and all our social media channels. Until next time,
Yeah,
keep
definitely.
on trucking.